This is Britt Caswell with another example video. In this video, I'm covering example 1 from section 3-5 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 1 textbook. So in this example, we are understanding association. All right? Association is another word for what we call correlation in statistics. All right, so what we're talking about is a trend that we might see between the x values and the y values of a graph, or the general shape of a graph. So in this first example, it says, what is the relationship between the hours after sunrise, which is x, and the temperature, which is y? And so if you look at this graph, you could see that there's kind of an upward bound, right? If I very roughly draw in a line here, could probably do a little better than that. Most of the points on here sit kind of around that line, don't they? So what we do is we call this a positive association, or I can't spell association while I talk apparently, or a positive correlation. And it's positive because the trend line that I've just drew in here is with a positive slope. Now again, on this example, these are the hours after sunset. I can draw a relatively straight line with most of the points on it. So we would say that this has a negative association or correlation. And then here, there's not really an easy line that I could put in there, right? Like I could come down this way and you'll see that it meets with some of the points, but a lot of these are missing. And I could come from the side and it would miss a lot. So here we would say that there is no association or no correlation. Now, when we do talk about these, by the way, there's a thing called a correlation coefficient. And this is kind of a side note. It is not part of your book here yet. So a correlation coefficient is called the R-squared value. And the closer to 1 would mean that the points are in a perfectly straight line. And then the closer to 0 you get, the more scattered they are, like that. So there's no correlation. So as we move on, you guys will find that we'll get these correlation coefficient values, and the closer to 1 that it is, the closer the points are to the line. Alright, so this one is probably in like the 0.9 range because it has a few that are off, but for the most part, they're there. Whereas this one, there's pretty much no association or no correlation, so it's probably 0.01 or something like that, very close to 0. Now, if it says, if it's a positive one, that'll be a positive association, and it can say -1. So I'll add that on here. It can say -1, and that's going to mean a negative pattern like that. So just so you guys know, that's what that means. So let's take a look at this one. So this one just says describe the type of association that is shown. So you can see that these points, they're generally trending upward like that, right? I can kind of fit a trend line here. So these ones have a positive correlation or association. You could call it an association if you want. And it's probably relatively close to 1, maybe like 0.75 or something. Now on this one, this cloud, there's not really any line that I could draw that really fits this data well. So I would say that this one has no correlation. Okay, so that's how we start to look at associations between lines. Until next time.